published by Penguin, big tick. You're on the BBC, big tick. So dropping out of medical school is almost forgiven. Hi, my name is Nikki May, and this is how I wrote my debut novel, Wahala. I'm mixed race, I'm middle class, I wanted to see myself in a book. I wanted characters whose lives involve things like a gussie soup and carjacking and cornrows, but in the same breath as Ubers, focaccia recipes and Soho House. So the inspiration for Wahala came from a long and very loud lunch with friends at a Nigerian restaurant in London. There was wine involved. And as I boarded the very slow train home to Dorset, I code switched out of Nigerian me back into English me, and I started thinking about my two cultures, and I'd sketched out the characters and written the first scene before I got to my stop. After that, the story just poured out of me. I had a draft in 6 months, and I printed it out, a lot of paper, looked at it, got the fear, put it in a drawer and wouldn't look at it again for 6 months. But I was dreaming of my girls. I'd wake up and I'd think of them. Every ponytail reminded me of Boo. Every time I cooked, I thought of Ronke. Every time I went into a fashion shop, I thought of Simi. And this word came into my head, Wahala. That's what they need. These girls need trouble. So I went back and I unpicked every scene, giving each of my characters as much Wahala as I possibly could. It had to be the right Wahala for each girl, and I knew what they needed. Put it all together, did a couple of edits, and then I entered a couple of amateur competitions for writers. I got shortlisted for a couple, and then I won one, and the judge was an agent, and she said, I really want to represent you, send me your book. Well, in for a penny, in for a pound, so I sent it to 8 agents one morning, and 3 hours later I had 6 requests for the full. And all these things were new. I'd never heard of, I didn't know that you went on submission. I thought you just phoned a friendly publisher and said, would you like this? So it was all a bit of a whirlwind, and considering nobody had read my book before then, to know that it was out there was freaky. And it was crazy. It went to a 9-way auction in the UK and a 6-way auction in the States, and that was it. In West Africa, the word Wahala is ubiquitous. You hear it 10 times a day. Usually it's said with a groan, a sigh, or the shake of a head. Wahala means trouble, and there's loads of it in my book. It's based around 3 mixed-race women living in London. They share a half Nigerian, half British heritage, and I can't think where I got that idea from. I really wanted to write a sort of ode to the city that is possibly my favourite place in the world. And the other thing was I could center my characters in places I'd been. I could actually imagine Ronke turning left out of her flat because my parents-in-law still live in that flat, and Simi's flat in Battersea, it's where my boyfriend lived when we first met. He's now my husband. So there were sort of locations that I know and I love and I felt really comfortable in, and I could sort of focus on what my characters are doing and thinking.
Pounded yam and egusi. Eba with okra. No, it had to be pounded yam, but maybe with eforiru. Ronke ran through the menu in her head as she walked up the hill to Buka. She knew it by heart, but that didn't make choosing any easier. As usual, she wanted it all.
The opening in Buka, we changed the name, but it's a restaurant I go with my friends, my Niger girls, and we meet there every couple of months. And honestly, it feels like that when you walk in. You honestly feel you've stepped out of London and into downtown Lagos. And it's the smell and the sounds. And there's something about being in that space that you can be as loud as you want. And we hear our accents suddenly shifting and becoming more Nigerish as it goes on. In some ways, it was another way of connecting with my Nigerian culture, where food is hugely important. We have a saying, it's called Ewajeun, and it basically means come and eat. And if anybody walks into your space when you're eating, you say Ewajeun. And it's not a fake offer, it's a real, come, I'll take some food out of my bowl for you. It's a way of caring about people. Nigerian food, I think, is very underrepresented. You have wonderful Indian restaurants and wonderful Chinese restaurants, but Nigerian, if African food, in fact, is very underrepresented. Things like jollof rice and pounded yam, which is basically like mashed potatoes. Wonderful stews like a gussie stew or okra soup. I think when you're mixed race, it's very easy for other people to decide what you are. All white or all black audience can pronounce on whether I'm white enough or black enough, or whether I'm being too white or too black. And it's sort of seen as you have to be one thing or the other. You can't possibly be both. But I am both, and I actually love being both. I love my two cultures. I wanted Wahala to be a celebration of both of them. You can love roast potatoes and you can love pounded yam, and you're not being a traitor when you pick one or the other. I think my biggest advice is read. Read, read, read some more. Read brilliant books so that you're inspired to create something wonderful. Read rubbish books so that when you read your writing back, you think, I'm not that bad really. Read all the time and try and when you read, unpick what the writer's doing. I'd read loads. I read a book a week and I have done since I was 18, but I'd never thought about point of view. I'd never thought about tense. You just gobble up. But I think when you start to unpick really good writing, you realise that the cleverness of getting you into the character's head, the cleverness of keeping you turning the pages, how they have cliff edges. So I think the biggest tip, if you want to write, read. Thank you for watching. You can buy my debut novel Wahala in hardback, audio or ebook by clicking the link below, and do subscribe to the Penguin YouTube channel for more videos like this.